This episode of Southeast Iowa Today is brought to you by Griner Auto Body of Washington, Iowa, using state-of-the-art techniques and decades of experience to get your car back on the road after an accident. Car Doctor of Washington, Iowa. No matter who Frankensteined it, they can fix it, clean it, and customize it. McDonald Boneyard of Keota, Iowa, for all your farm equipment and auto recycling needs. For great food, it's your choice. Your Choice Family Restaurant of Wayland, Iowa. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Come to our cruise-ins this summer on the second Tuesday of the month, June through September. Girling Repair of Winfield, Iowa. If your mower is dead, call Fred, your Husqvarna, Aaron's, and Gravely dealer. Fred also fixes and sells snowblowers. B&B Propane and the family of jet stops. CW Tree Trimming, LLC. We're into your trees, not your wallet. Serving all of Henry County and the surrounding area. We offer a senior citizen and veteran discount. Dutch Market and Coffee Talk of Washington, Iowa. Dutch Market can handle all of your grocery needs, and they even have a conference room that you can use for free. Coffee Talk's drive-thru is open and ready to serve you coffee, energy drinks, sandwiches, baked goods, and ice cream. They all present you the award-winning Southeast Iowa Today. Here's the author of Christie's Journey, The Beat Goes On, and your host, John Bain.
Thank you, announcer Cody Roy of NewEnglandDukes.com for your golden pipes and wonderful introduction. It's Monday, July 14th, and I'm in Fairfield, Iowa at the Jefferson County Courthouse because today is the weekly Jefferson County Board of Supervisors meeting, and found out when I got in that internet was down today, so they were not able to have their Zoom connection for folks to watch. So hopefully you all will get the word out to your friends and fellow voters and taxpayers, and you can all share this and watch this, and make sure to give this episode a like, follow, and subscribe. It's free. Let me take you to the meeting.
So I will call this meeting to the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors to order Monday, July 14th. And in the interest of full disclosure, so it is a matter of record, we currently do not have internet, so we do not have Zoom. However, we are being recorded. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
All right. I would entertain a motion to acknowledge the minutes of
July 7th and July 8th.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. There. And next on the agenda is Dave. Hi, Dave. What's going on?
Plumber's starting mini splits on the second floor this morning.
Okay.
And we got a busy court schedule on Tuesday, so we'll have to probably lay off for one day and then hopefully come back into it on Wednesday. And if I can talk them into doing the magistrate's court up on the third floor on Thursday, then we could probably get that thing wrapped up this week.
Okay.
If not, we're gonna have to pick at it around their schedule, which I prefer not to do.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's nothing else going on except yard work.
Anything for Dave? I appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Wayne?
Thanks, Dave.
Good morning, supervisors. As far as I know, we didn't have any trees go down in the west part of the county over the weekend with the wind, but we did over on Tamarack and east part of the county. So we've got a big old cottonwood that they chunked up and so they could get moved into the ditch. And we'll get that cleared up when time allows later in the year. Right now it's not a traffic hazard. We've got patchwork going on Libertyville Road west of the bridge project. A couple of blow-ups and broken panels. 170-foot patch and 150-foot patch, so they'll be working on that pretty much all week, getting those tore out and put back in. Hopefully, if Mother Nature cooperates with the moisture from above, we'll get to work on that, bridge replacement on 165th next week with the twin tankers. That should take pretty much
It's
1
a
week.
special project.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's been on the 5-year plan for quite a while, so.
It's been on my 15-year plan.
Well, I can't
Well, you're
speak
used
for
to it
those,
by now.
I can't speak for those who came before me, I just do what I can.
He's used to
So
it by
what
now,
a-
that's been on down the road 5 years.
What about the culvert on Juniper, east and south of my house? You got a stake there and they flagged that too.
Culvert on Juniper. I don't remember off the top of my head, Joe.
There was a stake driven and Locate was out there on Friday, said he's gonna have to replace that culvert. Oh, it's sneaking through and you didn't know.
Well, it depends how big it is, if it's a smaller one, I wouldn't.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
They don't, unless we have to buy something special, they just replace them as they need to and they don't test
Okay,
them.
well,
But
I,
like,
I hope they coordinated, that they're not both done at the same time, so I have to travel with my.
we only have one crew, so.
Okay.
Although I guess just to irritate you, we could tear out the one and then stop and go tear out the other.
Yeah, really.
I mean,
If you would.
if that's gonna provide more entertainment for the rest of the board.
Another four-wheel drive, you can come after me.
But yeah, the only time they really bother me or ask my opinion on what they're doing with the pipe is if it's a really big one like we did over there at, was it Velvet Leaf? Or we have to make a special order. The rest of them we just take out of inventory. So if it's under a 40-inch pipe.
Oh, it is,
It
it's,
doesn't have to be
I'm
gas.
guessing it's a 24,
Yeah, that's,
so.
and we replace a dozen of those a year, and that's just part of,
You don't
Part
know
of-
which way,
part of-
whether they'll do that first or the bridge first.
they'll do the bridge first.
Okay.
And let's see what else we got going on. We got some blow-ups on Germanville Road that we'll get to sometime here in the near future up at the north end, underneath the bond overlay that was done from, what's that, 150th north? There's a handful of them up in that S-curve area that need to be ground down. And we'll see how that comes out. We may end up having to do a concrete patch, and if the blow-up's too high, that we get into concrete. Contract rock, we're still doing around Fairfield and Brandon's area. Mother Nature cooperates, we should be done with that in 2 weeks yet, and so we're on target to be done with that at the end of July. Bridge, they spent basically the last 2 weeks getting stuff cleaned up from off-site. You know, the outside, the limits, the trees, the scrap, the dirt piles. So they're slowly getting there, but it's not nearly as quick as we would hope. Unfortunately, with going through the DOT letting, you know, we have to follow their guidelines and their rules, and also because we've got grant money in it. So we really don't have a hammer that we can force them to be any quicker than what they are. They've got till the end of October to get the project done, and we can suggest that it would be better if they were a little more diligent, but you really don't have a hammer to force them to be more timely.
So this will be a different crew that'll come in and do the approaches.
Yeah, so Iowa Bridge is the main contractor, prime contractor. And then Cole Construction is doing all the grade work. So they're on site now doing the cleanup. With the rain, it's pretty hard to get any of the site grading done. So their next thing to do is get the pile of topsoil spread, get the slopes done, but they've also got channel work to do. You really can't do anything in the channel when the creek's up. And then they also have the approach sections east and west to get brought up to grade. So that Boulder can come in, pour the concrete approaches, and then Norris can tie into those and do the asphalt runout, so. There's not a lot of big work left, it's just all little stuff, and
Just step by step.
it's really kind of contingent on being able to get the site, the outside work off, the edges, the ditches, all that just about needs to be close to finished grade before they get the concrete work done, so you don't damage that working next to it. Well, we're getting there. I know the people that live up the east end of the road closure are not happy about the, 4 or 5 extra miles they have to travel every day back and
West
forth.
end.
Yeah. We'll get there.
I was down there a week ago, and somebody had cut the barricade so they could come from the west and go around to the south. And I thought, I imagine that happens every weekend for somebody.
More likely, yeah.
As long as they remember to turn and go south and not drive off into.
Yeah, and, to somebody just driving up there, it doesn't seem to make sense that they can't get to Juniper from there, but, that's their staging area, so when they're working there, it's not safe to have traffic going through there. And let's see, I think that's all I got.
We have any idea date-wise, whatever, when whoever's gonna go over Lockridge or fix that when they're gonna be in town?
Well, we got the intake down in Lockridge that handles the drainage, and I'm waiting to hear back from Elling on when they're gonna be in. We've got the patchwork to do in Batavia, we've also got the patchwork on 146 that will happen at the same time. Basically the same mobilization that we're getting work done in Lockridge.
So was the process, was it the same process all the way through Henry County?
Yeah.
The reason I asked is because I was over there this weekend and I drove all the way to where it meets Henry County's concrete or whatever. And that side of the project was, significantly better than our side of the project. So I didn't know whether or not maybe they didn't got that side done before they got the rain or whatever, I don't know. But
No, the areas that caused us issues are where the stormwater runs to the road instead of away from it.
Okay.
So as you get east of Lockridge, there's a spot, maybe in the middle of the project where you get up on top of the hill. And the fields are considerably higher than what the road is. So all that stormwater would run and sit next to the pavement. And it allowed it to soak underneath the rock. And that's where the issue is that rock got super saturated. And that made it unstable. And the same thing down in Lockridge, at the far west end, just short of the four-way stop where we put an intake in, because the water was standing there and soaking underneath there and getting saturating that. And then the other 3 areas in Lockridge have kind of the same issue, so when we have them come back in, we'll grade it so that there's a more well-defined ditch away from the edge of the road, so the water has someplace to go and doesn't get back in underneath that. And we were trying to keep the footprint small in Lockridge so we didn't infringe on the yards much, and that worked in most of the areas, but it's very plain to see the areas that didn't work.
okay, I just, like I said, it was just, I didn't know whether they did something different or what, so I was just curious.
In Henry County, the road is the high point and everything drains away very
Right.
nicely, whereas in the Jefferson County end, the first half mile is that way, but then the rest of it's varies.
Yeah.
it's the low point budget places that really had issues.
So, over the weekend, I was contacted by a resident dealing with the Glasgow problem. And I think he's here this morning to talk to you about it in front of us. So, do you wanna address that now?
Either that or we can do it in public comments, whatever.
She lives down there, I don't know, I mean, not week about that.
Do you wanna do it now or during public comment?
It's not on the, yeah, it's not on the agenda, so we'll have to wait. And, again, just so everybody knows, whatever, no decision can be made on it. It's not
Yes,
discussed.
yes.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Lee. Discuss and consider Steel Acres minor subdivision. Number 2 in your packet. The requisite information is there. I think this is just a, I don't remember, are we expanding or just, I mean, it's just,
Splitting off the homestead, I believe, was
Okay.
on that one. But it's a minor subdivision because of the number of previous splits, I believe, is what the issue was on that. That you're leaving the ag and just splitting out the residential.
It's an acre lot too.
Which is consistent with the current ordinance. I guess I didn't ask if the septic system was actually encompassed by that acre. I would hope it.
where that's located.
Out by, Overland.
Yeah, I'm thinking there may be. Yeah, this public sewer doesn't run out that far, does it? Out to,
It's just the, I went past it, and seen it, it's just the house and the grass and stuff, it doesn't really go out into the farmable acres in it.
So we have a motion to, I guess I suppose I should read the resolution. Whereas the Steel Acres minor subdivision is found to conform to the applicable ordinances and standards of the county, and whereas it appears that the approval will not be in conflict with the purposes of the subdivision ordinance, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Jefferson, Iowa, approve the plat and cause its approval to be entered on the plat. We have a motion.
So moved.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Discuss and consider final plat of Valley View Estate subdivision. Is there anybody here representing? Yes, sir.
Trevor Brown, I was the surveyor on it.
Okay.
I know this was brought, to you guys a couple months ago, and I think things have changed up, that they wanna, stay out in the county, and not be incorporated into or annexed into the city of Batavia, so.
Well, first thing,
Before we get started,
Yeah.
I have a conflict of interest with that because he's my brother-in-law, so I'm not gonna say anything during this hearing and stuff, I'm just gonna sit there and listen. Is that okay?
You?
Okay, I don't want somebody to come back at me about something, so. So thank you.
so I can't ask you any questions?
No.
So anyway, a couple of things. One, and I'm not trying to be a horse's pursuit here, but we have to understand that, and this information I can give to you, that you can take to Nick. First off, the subdivision ordinance requires those lots to be a minimum of 1 acre. They're, one's a little over half, the others are smaller than half. So it's gonna have to be redone. The other thing is that under the subdivision ordinance, no construction can begin, of course, that's kinda like putting the cart, or letting the horse, or closing the barn door after the horse is gone, cause we got 3 homes there already, but they weren't subdivided. But under the subdivision ordinance, you're not to start any construction, not to be any structures placed on property until such time as the plat is approved. There is in the subdivision ordinance a presumption of agricultural use if it has a 55 CSR rating or higher. I know since we've written that ordinance, that how you compute CSR has changed, and I'm not exactly sure how that's done. I will also say that the subdivision ordinance and the ordinance that was written years ago from public health, that if you're within 250 feet of a public sewer, you're required to tie on. Unless a variance is granted by the Board of Health, so that's not under our jurisdiction. And then if such variance is not, or is granted, then they would have to put in a waste disposal system, which then would fall under the jurisdiction of environmental health and whatever kind of system would need to be installed there. So, also, just for the record, please, thank you. If eventually this is approved, there can be no more subdividing of that parcel under a minimum subdivision heading, threshold, whatever. It becomes a major subdivision. That's why I want him to see all of the stuff that's on there, because there's a lot of requirements once it becomes a major subdivision. Right now, that's a single parcel. I personally think that, speaking for myself, not for the other board members or for the city of Batavia, but I think that it would be beneficial for the Valley View Estate subdivision to work closely with the city of Batavia to see. It would save a lot of probably headaches for everybody in the long run. I know what part of the issue is, and it makes no difference as far as what we do or don't do in terms of following the subdivision ordinance, but as it stands right now, the plat, the way it's drawn, does not meet the requirements of the subdivision ordinance, which is a minimum of 1 acre. I will also tell you that we are in the process of amending the subdivision ordinance, and so we have to go through public hearings, but that minimum of 1 acre, potentially, depending upon the decision of the board, will change to 2 acres. So moving forward, even in a major subdivision, that would be a requirement if the ordinance is, if the amendments to the ordinance are approved. So that's what I wanted to let them know, that, and I provided, you gave them to them, right? I provided a copy of both the public health ordinance, where it says section 4 permits, no private disposal system shall be installed where a public sewer or managed community sewer system is available within 250 feet unless a specific variance is granted. Whether they will or they won't is up to the Board of Health, it's not up to us. And then the subdivision ordinance is there as well. It lays out everything that we talked about. Again, just for the interest of full disclosure, we are discussing some amendments to that ordinance, but as of right now, we have not gone through all of the legal processes to accomplish that. So the minimum of 1 acre still exists, and I don't know, Susie,
I agree with you.
So I would say at this point that probably should have, so that it's on record, I would make a motion that we deny the final plat of Valley View Estate subdivision.
Second.
I'm gonna add a little bit to that, cause it does not meet the requirements of the subdivision ordinance.
Still second.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi Josh. Hi. What's going on in your world?
Not much. Basically in a holding pattern, so I don't really have a lot to talk about today.
Are you holding
Waiting on,
overtime?
yeah, I wish. Yeah, just waiting on responses from people and, as far as the training program, and as far as, some of the plans we have for the service, still waiting on things, so not really anything new to report.
Are we moving on the ambulance?
I'm supposed to get a call from ICAP this week,
Okay.
so they can send somebody down to look at it and move forward.
We'll light a fire under them if we can.
Yeah.
I realize they got a lot of things on their plate.
Right.
Quite frankly, their plate doesn't concern me, my ambulance does.
I get it. So,
Anything for Josh?
No.
Busy weekend?
not technically.
Good. Means our folks are doing good. Set time and, I'm sorry, set date and time. Okay, I'll be darned. For second public hearing on amending Jefferson County Code of Ordinances, adding chapter 950 to authorize the Jefferson County Ambulance Service to establish and assess fees, bill patients, engage in debt collection, and establish a billing appeal process. So when do we do that, Abby? July 28th? At 9 a.m. Perfect. Same bat channel, same bat time. So, I would entertain a motion to set July 28th at 9 a.m. as time for the second public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We can at that time, after going through the second public hearing, we can choose to move on to a third, or we can approve the ordinance at that time. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Number 4,
Thanks, guys.
discuss and consider request for opioid funds for an illegal drug and paraphernalia board. For educational purposes for the public library. But, yeah,
It's a mouthful.
come on down.
Hey there, I'm Alex Schmidt-Nicunas from Fairfield Public Library. I'm here on behalf of the opioid group, specifically Ken Daly, who has recommended that the community have an educational board with 3-dimensional replicas of drugs and drug paraphernalia that would be stored at the Fairfield Public Library. It would be available for checkout by the schools for youth in Fairfield, as well as if the for example the police department or EMA or another group like that needed a resource like this, the Fairfield Public Library would be able to loan it out to the community. The board I found out of three options sent to me by Ken runs $599 from a company called Edco. I'd like to request an additional $50 for shipping and handling, but we would order it first if this is all right, and then let you know what the final cost is with the cost of shipping and handling.
Alex, I have a question. In June, Mayor Boyer had contacted me saying he wanted $1,000. We then came to a meeting and we, as a board, gave you $3,000. Where's that money at? Has it been spent?
The $3,000 hasn't been spent yet, but I've received let's see, like, not invoices, I've been communicating with this company out of Des Moines that sells library furniture, and the reason why I've kind of been stalling a little bit is because actually the furniture costs more than I even expected. The construction and shipping alone is $1,000 on these shelves. So I asked, do you have anything that's a little bit more reasonably priced? So actually I found one sort of discounted shelf right now, and actually the discounted shelf with construction and shipping is $3,000. So that actually the funding that you approved and that we requested, it's just enough to pay for the shelving unit, not any materials for it. So I'm prepared to ask the library's foundation for some funding for some materials for the shelving unit. But this is how expensive good quality library furniture is.
I understand that.
Yeah.
So, have you given us an invoice so the auditor's office can reimburse you?
Yes, we have.
And have you received that?
I believe we have. Yes, we have, and it's been deposited in the city's general fund.
So I gotta, and I'm gonna defer to Susie here, cause she's a lot more familiar with this than. But under the toll cost program, we have an additional committed to that of $7,953 up to. And it says community scans, school and professional CEU presentations and public presentations. I don't know, explain to me, if this additional, I'm just gonna round figures, additional $8,000. Is that for things that are going to be presented by the tall comp, or is that just other things in that?
It was
That type of program.
$20,000 was committed to the tall cop. They didn't really have a firm figure with that. I know we were waiting to see how much the bills that come in, you know, from the
Right.
Civic Center, from Hy-Vee for the rolls and stuff like that.
Okay.
Christie, has all that came in, all the bills for that? Cause I know last week there was confusion and Darcy had then found something that I forwarded her in her spam file. And so we did pay tall cop last week, I think.
It says we expended $12,046.88.
The original with the tall cop was 11,000 something, and I think Hy-Vee Civic Center might have been $600 and some dollars. So
Okay.
I guess I'd like to know where we are with that. But that was money that was earmarked for the tall cop thing.
Right, so I guess my question though is where I was going with that, we've got quote public presentations and everything under that line item anyway. And what I'm asking is that, excuse
Are
me,
you asking Darcy for any more? Thank you.
what I'm wondering is if we're doubling up here, in other words, if we already have funds committed or allocated for public presentations, if this wouldn't fall under that.
You know, I guess, Lee, in my opinion, we obligated that 20,000 for tall cop. If they don't spend it, it should go back in our fund.
I agree.
And then Mr. McCunis, if he's asking for more and we voted on that, and it's approved, then it would come out of the main base. So as to not confuse anybody, just make it very clear.
I guess my question is, and again, what'd you say? How much money did you say?
$599 plus shipping.
I mean,
yeah, and the more expensive ones were more like $900.
Well, I mean, even at that, I'm just looking at things, I mean, we obviously have a limited amount of resources, but by the same token, I guess, is there any way that we could see a picture of it, something, I mean, cause I'm having a hard time getting my arms around, I'm gonna probably get cards and letters on this one, but, I had a hard time getting my arms around t-shirts. I just don't think that it does. And I, having a whatever you call it, a board that, for all the different types of things. Now, I thought the Tall Cop program was phenomenal. I learned a lot of things that, and I think a lot of other people did too, is just across the counter stuff at gas stations and things that are being sold. But, I don't know, Susie,
I guess in my mind, I'd like to see a picture of what Alex wants to order, then approve it or not approve it.
Yeah, I printed a little picture of it and left it on my office desk, I'm sorry.
oh, that's all
But
right.
it's fairly large, it has a plexiglass cover, it's got, like 5 different sections depending on the kind of drug, whether it's, narcotics or hallucinogens,
I
that
guess,
sort of thing.
I guess what I'm saying is that I'm not saying the schools wouldn't borrow it or the police department or whatever, I don't know. And again, it's not an inordinate amount of money, and I understand that, but it is, $500, $600, $700.
Right.
I just don't, I envision it sitting in a closet somewhere collecting dust and never getting used.
I guess along those same lines, Alex, I don't disapprove spending this,
I understand,
okay?
I understand.
But I just think we have yet to see anything you've purchased, so it'd be kinda nice to see it.
Yeah, absolutely, and I wanted to just clarify too that, I'm making this request on behalf of Ken Daly.
Right.
I haven't communicated with the schools or the police or anyone like that. I think Ken sees this as being a valuable resource. I personally, and I know, I have a different perspective. I grew up seeing those kinds of boards occasionally in schools, and it didn't really make too much of an impression on me, actually. And I kind of wonder if, the police or the schools don't already have something like this. I kind of wonder about that. I also, another thought I have is just that, sadly, and it's disturbing, but, new drugs are always coming out. And the hip new drugs, they're often something that people like us don't even know about, So I don't know, I have mixed feelings about the board, but I think if the opioid group kind of as a whole felt strongly about the need for this, I think that would be, the library would be really willing to catalog this thing and make it accessible.
Alex, I will say, Ken talked about this some time ago. Then he wasn't coming in meetings, now he's in Canada. So I guess the ball falls in your court. We need to see pictures.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll share pictures, and I'll also confirm with the police department and the schools about their potential use of this. Because I too don't want it to collect dust in a closet.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with your assessment, that, unfortunately, that world is rapidly changing, but I'm not sure if we have a target entity, students or younger people or whatever, I'm not sure how much, can we better use the money somewhere else? I don't know, I'm not.
See, I think we just need to see it, maybe we can visualize.
I see it as, something that could be at some sort of event where kids would be, not necessarily for example, like a teacher appreciation day at the convention center. If the opioid group or someone kind of wanted to take responsibility for,
Well, we had a
showing
big
this
program years ago, that we did at the middle school. We brought all of the kids in the evening, the parents dropped the kids off, we bought pizza, and we had games and stuff, and they played basketball, and in the event, we had programs. And, obviously the idea was that in this particular instance, it happened to be about alcohol, but it was substance abuse was what, and I can see where something like that could be in that type of scenario. I can see that, but I just don't see those scenarios happening. I don't see our schools being involved in that context at this point.
You know,
I agree
you
with
are right, because we did that at the middle school, we even did it at the high school for a job fair, which would have been perfect for it.
Yeah.
Out at Extension, out the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
You know, there are many places you could use it. I just wanna see it.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Do you think you could have that by next week, so we could,
Oh, sure,
have Abby put you on the agenda?
sure. Yeah, and I think it'll be important to have that feedback from the, you know, also Optime, I don't know if they would benefit from being able to use that. I don't know. And does maybe Optime does, it'd be nice if Optime did some outreach to the schools. I don't know how much they focus on drug prevention, but there are definitely some organizations in town that I think could do outreach and use it for that purpose.
Well, and I think our target audience has to be the young generation, because quite frankly, there's so much information out there about all of the crap that's out there, and we still have people jumping in the pool, in the deep end of the pool.
Yeah.
So we gotta reach somehow or another, we've gotta, shall we say, nip it in the bud, to coin a phrase from old sheriff from way back when, but anyway, my point is that, I think you get beyond a certain age and I think then you're in a recovery stage, not a prevention stage. That's my thought process. Anyway, I agree. So if you can provide us with some 8x10 glossy slides.
Yeah, I'll bring some images to share next week.
Okay.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah. Number 5, consider sick leave payout for formal mental health employee. You should have an email in your packet. Okay, I'm confused. Why are we getting? Test. So is this coming from somewhere else?
It's my understanding that it's the state that budgeted for that.
So the state's going to cover it.
I mean, we have to pay it, but they'll reimburse.
Okay. The reason I ask this question is just, so that the board, the county has policy regarding payout of sick leave, and it has to come at retirement. In this particular instance, the state is reimbursing, the state wants to pay this employee because this employee has been, the position is no longer available. So the state is doing this, and I don't think that it would be a violation of the handbook policy because we're being reimbursed. I don't know, what do you think?
I just wanna make sure we're reimbursed.
Right.
I mean, I think this is unfair.
I don't disagree with you there, but when you start making exceptions to, in the handbook where there are no exceptions,
Yeah.
because it states a minimum of 15 years and you must be eligible for Riper's retirement.
Okay.
That's where I was going with it. And, neither applies, but by the same token, the position was eliminated. But as I read this, I'll read it for the public as well, because there's no names on here. It says, I've attached the FY 26 budget. This should cover payroll and payroll expenses that were incurred in FY 25 and paid in FY 26. I did include the max for vacation, sick over 900 hours, and the 30% of the 900 hours of sick time. I want to ensure there's plenty of money in the budget to cover those items. This is not a revenue budget due to the startup funds that are sitting in the sub-fund I don't know what any of that means, cause we don't have any jurisdiction over that. That's mental health, that's, under the state of Iowa. We haven't budgeted for mental health for several budgets. Can't remember, it was before I came back, when Darren and Susie and Dee were here when that started. And they, once that levy was eliminated, that money all went back to the taxpayers, it was never moved forward, so. So with that being said, at the end of May or beginning of June, let's plan on double checking the cell phone balance to ensure there's plenty of money to get you through those final pay periods. So my question is, did Darcy answer the question, or Christie, do you know?
So this Tammy,
Yeah,
she had informed us that it would be reimbursed by the state.
okay. So that's what's going to happen, right?
As far as we know.
Wink, wink.
No.
Okay. Alright, so on the agenda, discuss and consider sick leave payout for former mental health employee. And again, just so the public knows, the vacation is not an issue. We always pay out the vacation or any comp time, cause those are hours worked. But again, we have a handbook policy on the sick leave, so, but this will be reimbursed by the state.
Does the state pay for sick leave?
According to this, it would be, because we weren't budgeting anything for any of that. So, as well as they're paying for the vacation. So I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Discuss and consider vacant third floor office. There's an email, I think, yeah, that says, approached by a judge regarding the empty office space on the fourth floor. Do you have a plan for that? If not, is it possible to use it for an extra conference meeting area? On busy court service days, we have attorneys meeting with clients in the hall amongst other waiting defendants, and it's usually just a mess, so I told them I would inquire. And I appreciate that they inquire and the request. However, personally for me, I guess I don't have a plan in my mind yet, I don't, maybe you guys do, for that third floor office, but I don't wanna give any more space to the court system. That's me. I mean, they've got the entire second floor, a large part of the third floor. Steve?
You and I remember, and Abby, before mental health was up there, we used that for, I mean, the courtroom system used it some. When they remodeled offices, those offices used it. We used it for conference board meetings.
Yeah.
I'd just like to see it available for anybody that needs a space. Not that they can't use it when they need it.
Well, right now, there isn't any furniture.
I just don't think,
There's a desk.
I just don't think any one person should own it at this point, I guess is my opinion. I mean, the door's unlocked and it's available. That's what it was before.
And like I said, right now, it's vacant of candy bars or anything.
Before, did you have any kind of schedule where you, if you think you needed it, you
Did we
could
have a
schedule
schedule?
that?
We did,
You
we
kept track
have an
of it?
office calendar and we would schedule, well, now it's the basement, but we would schedule that with, you know, their name and what they needed it for.
I think, I agree, not, one entity doesn't really take control, it should be as needed.
Right, and I think, I'm gonna move over here so I doesn't throw something at me. But we have table and chairs down there in the old assessor's office. But if push come to shove and they needed some space and we're not using it for elections or something, they can sit there. So if we wanted to use that office for, I don't know, some other capacity on a permanent basis.
You know, right now I can see Abby using it to train her, elections volunteers.
Sure.
That's what we're
workers.
used to.
There's a lot of good space, but they would need some tables and chairs.
Right, which we've already got down in the, because they count ballots down there. So, I agree in the concept that, not saying that they can't use it or that we would, but I don't wanna deed it over to anybody specific.
So are you thinking the auditor's office would be in charge of that schedule?
If Christie was amenable to that.
She's
Okay.
kinda doing this and everything.
Okay.
You know,
Kinda like
I can
me.
see Abby going through and, scheduling when she needs it for the next 6 months, and then filling in with people.
And we do
I
our
think they
conference
come
board,
first.
yeah, we do our conference boards here now.
Yeah.
So,
It's a good place for the auditors, there's lots of room for them to spread
Absolutely.
out.
so my recommendation would be, to contact the auditor's office for, if you have a need.
To schedule use of the room.
Right. But it would be on an approval basis from the auditor's office. So then the ball's in your court. You'll have
So
to
is that a
run
whole
us-
motion?
Yeah, that's a motion, that way you don't have to run us down to look for,
Right,
so that's my motion.
I second. Good for you, Tim.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Number 7, discuss and consider disposal system contractor's license for H&S Land Clearing. I spoke with Jerry. He is full approval. Any questions you might have? Is there a representative here from? All paperwork is in place. So I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Committee reports.
Of course, we had the opioid thing last week, which we did not have many people attending that, but, basically, I think the consensus that we're just talking about what other things to entertain spending that money on. Safety committee meeting, that went well. I think the highlight was the shoes we can wear in slippery weather. And I think
Yeah,
that
Darcy's
Darcy's done a good job of letting everybody know about that. And stopping by. I did have an EMS meeting also, and, it went very fast, just looking at basically going over their budget and seeing maybe something that Brett didn't do, he's gonna do this year, as far as money. So, it's a good meeting.
In that regard, it's actually 911, but I just would let you know since you're on that.
Yeah.
There was a conversation last week, I think, if you remember, about the address up on Tamarack. Well, it came up as South Tamarack rather than north of 136th. So we're working on getting Google Maps or whatever to correct that.
Right.
Cause if you remember, I was talking to Josh about it.
Know which way to go?
Yeah, okay, well, so it's 1325 Tamarack, but it's north of 136th, but when you call that up, it shows it on the south side, 136, which isn't possible because going south off of there, the addresses are gonna be smaller.
Google never makes mistakes.
Right, but we just don't want people,
Oh, right.
you know, if Andy's looking for it, and we send him down the wrong road.
It will be in the paper.
That's right, yeah, so, anyway, I just wanted to know we are working to get that corrected. It's in our system correctly, it's in Geocon, it's, I mean, everything is where it's supposed to be. So, but if an emergency vehicle was dispatched and they're relying on GPS GPS to get them there, they might not get there, so it's important to get them correct.
Are you done? I am. Good deal, good deal. Oh, I went out to the road department last Monday morning for their safety meeting at 7 o'clock. It was a good meeting, thank you, Dwayne. What else did I do? I had my RAC meeting on Wednesday. That's that resilient action with the city of Fairfield. That kind of wraps, I had some other odd meetings and stuff, so. Traction Thursday on Thursday, so that wraps it up.
So what they call it, Traction Thursday, goes on Thursday.
It's entrepreneurs who get, come and talk
Why do you
about
mean
things.
those ice shoes?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
attraction.
Oh, okay.
Good point. Yeah. Okay, we met with, Jefferson County Health Center here on the 8th.
I'm sorry, I forgot that.
Oh, that's all right. And,
Gotta give them something to report about, so.
yeah, that's true. I thought it was semi-productive. And we're working with the building company to get some of those questions answered regarding not medically necessary trips. I think at that point, once we get that information, and I, quite frankly, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter to me if it's 1 or 101. If there's a medically unnecessary trip taken, then I think we need to have a contract with the ambulance, or with, the health center, that they cover the cost of non-medical necessity transfers, because we're not going to get reimbursed for those transfers from insurance companies if they deem it wasn't medically necessary. But we'll have that conversation, that was the point of the meeting, and so that's why I say, we're waiting for that information from the building company. Also had a regional utility service systems meeting. And, we formalized all of our emergency response plans for all of our sewer systems. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 individual plans. A lot of it obviously is redundant, but each community has its own unique, circumstances as well. And, we, selected new officers. Well, that's actually not true. We regurgitated the ones we had, so everything stayed the same. So that's all I had. Public comments.
Yeah, I'd like to address the board for a few minutes if that's good. For anyone that don't know me, I'm Jerry Leonard with County Sanitarian here at the Environmental Health Department. I'd like to revisit the Green Valley expansion over there in Batavia, I tell you all, alright. To say the least, you made a comment about letting the horse out of the barn. I would say the horses have ran out of the barn, because it's plural, the horses have ran out of the barn. I had the Green Valley Estate owner, I believe, he's either full owner or partial owner of the housing development in my office a few weeks ago, and we discussed another issue in the county of a piece of property they owned, and he was supposed to come back with me with some answers. He never returned. We briefly discussed houses that were built in Batavia. Since that time, I've kind of looked through the county files and I see nothing about any sewage disposal permit issue. And after talking to the mayor, Tom Drish, last week, he said that it was a firm no that the owner is not gonna annex into the city. So this is fully under the jurisdiction of environmental health in the county. So I was hoping that representative, because the way I found out about that, you guys were gonna discuss this, as I seen that he was on the minutes, I was hoping that he'd show up this morning so we make further discussion of what really needs to get started and done here. It
all starts out with permits, issues of variances. To say the least, before the system got put in, there should have been some sort of pre-site evaluation on all of it. Myself or the former sanitary and environmental health specialist should have inspected what was being put in, because
Well, wait, back up, Sarah. Where are we referring to?
the west side of Batavia.
Well, those are on public sewer, right? Those three houses that you built, those are on public
Yeah,
sewer.
let me finish here. They're on public sewer, yes, but it's still in the county.
Right.
Yeah, right, yeah, and again, it should have had some look over of what was being installed.
So let's back up. I'm not sure, our role is whether or not to approve subdivision. All of that
Yes,
is for
exactly.
meeting with public health.
I totally
Okay.
understand. But I guess, again, being it's in the county, there should have been some oversight on, what was being installed in the county, because it looks like to me now it's gonna remain in the county. And maybe I'm looking at this all wrong, but this could be, an issue, cause now there's a fourth unit being placed in it. We don't know whether or not it meets capacity, and it's in the county. And again, it's private, so it would be the owner's responsibility. But if there's an issue.
Well, as it stands right now, there was no need to come to the county because basically their buildings on leased land. Those are being rented. There was no subdivision there. They were on public sewer. Now, I agree, if they were gonna put waste disposal units in each of those three locations, yes, they needed to come and get a permit. But that's not on us. They don't come to us for that because they're not subdividing. He can't sell those properties till they're subdivided or till he annexes into the city. I agree with you, and my comment was, yeah, we're kinda like closing the barn door after the horse is gone. But as long as you're not subdividing, I guess what I would say is you probably could build 100 houses on that 42 acres, and you're not selling them because they're not parcels, you're not subdivided. That's why I wanted to point out that to the contractor that was here, that it can be no more on that property without it becoming a major subdivision, and they need to take a long, hard look at what the requirements of a major subdivision are, because I agree with you, they're not gonna come back and we're not gonna let the horse out of the barn again. But I can't change the fact that there's three properties there. And you have to rely on people getting in touch with Dwayne or getting in touch with you, or for that matter, getting in touch with us, because we don't drive through the county, we don't police, we don't have zoning. We do have ordinances. And we hope and we would like for people to obviously follow those procedures. But at this particular moment in time, I can't prevent him from building on there as long as he doesn't subdivide.
Sure, and I'm not saying that at all, Lee. I'm just saying that again, it's in county property, or county area, and it is private owned, okay? So it falls under the Chapter 69 private disposal systems, all right? Okay, being that he hooked to the city, you know, that's fine, but that should have been a
Let's cut to
variance.
the chase, what is it that you're wanting from us?
Nothing, just purely information is why I came to this meeting, because I was hoping the representative would be here so we could, you know, discuss this, and I don't know what the moving forwards looks like here.
Look, we don't either, except that the subdivision wasn't approved, so he can't sell the lots, because first off, they have to be a minimum of 1 acre, and you heard me say to the gentleman that was sitting here, obviously we got 3 on there, but I think everybody in the room heard, can't start construction on that 4th one until that plat's approved, and it wasn't approved. And I know that, I shouldn't say I know, I would not be surprised if the developer wanted to develop further, more lots or houses or whatever, but that changes the dynamic. But at this point in time, I don't know how it's being assessed, Steve, but I'm assuming it's
Just houses assessed to the land, just like everybody
Yeah.
else.
But it, and it all belongs to one individual, cause he's renting those properties right
Sure.
So you're right, if they can't reach an agreement with the city, or if he doesn't want to, then the developer has to put in a private sewage disposal system, and the developer has to come to you to get that permit, and it has to meet whatever requirements you lay out. Obviously, I know it's under chapter 69, but only, you know, what system is actually installed depends upon the circumstances.
Sure, and again, I think there's currently 3 units.
Three finished.
Three
Is under construction on the 4th unit right now.
Okay.
One was a duplex.
Do we,
Yes.
do we
Yes,
know
that's
if that, 4th one is hooked to the city sewer yet, or is it?
I don't know yet.
Yeah. So again, I guess that's where I'm coming from again, is that we have.
And there again, it's up to, the city of Batavia can deny him. Let me back up. I don't wanna, you have an ordinance at your disposal, pardon that pun, that states that if he is within 250 feet, which he is required by ordinance to tie on. That's, unless public health grants a variance. On what grounds they would grant a variance, I don't know, I'm not public health.
Correct.
Assuming that they wouldn't grant a variance, then he has to meet whatever requirements the city of Batavia establishes to tie on to that public sewer.
Correct. Yeah.
What those requirements are, maybe or not, that's up to the city of Batavia. If the city of Batavia says, no, not unless you do this, he has to do that unless the Board of Health grants a variance. Once the Board of Health grants a variance, then he can put in a private disposal system. But there's 2 parties that include you, obviously, because you're part of the public health, that will make that determination, not this board.
Oh, and I fully understand, again, I'm just here for information, again, given the fact that, currently, there's no information in any kind of county file about it. What would have been needed to meet county ordinances. And now that this 4th unit is going in, again, there's no permit issued, and that's one of the ordinances that would have been violated when he started this housing bill. And again, I'm just here for information to give to you guys, and then also.
Permit issued for what?
Permit for the private septic system. Again, that is supposed to be issued before the construction of structures or dwellings within the county.
But,
And by
okay,
state
but
law.
at this point, if he's planning on tying in, he's not putting in a private, he wouldn't need a permit. So that, I'm assuming that the developer, that's what I'm saying, I agree with you, but the developer, and he may be, I don't know, the developer may be surprised at what the end results may be, I don't know. I'm sure that we'll hear from the developer, but at this point, I mean, you had conversation with him, so he knows he's gotta pull a permit?
The only conversation I had with him was another property within the county, so he just briefly brought up that he was placing these houses, and again, I had no idea that there was already 3 of them there, people living in them, until I did a little bit of checking into it and realized there's another unit going
Well,
on.
and I guess I would say, under your jurisdiction, I would reach out to him and say, hey, just a friendly reminder, you've gotta pull a permit if you're gonna put in a private waste disposal system.
Sure. And again,
But I would also remind him that, which we told the gentleman that was here, you're required to tie onto the public sewer, but you gotta meet whatever, you know,
Right.
and go from there. I don't know how far their public sewer extends, I have no idea, I don't even know if they can accommodate it.
yeah, that's just it, I mean, without having any information, nobody could make an educated guess of what's there, I mean.
Well, and then you
unless-
pick up the phone and you call Tom and say, hey, can you accommodate this if that's what he wants to do? I mean,
Sure.
those are the discussions, and then you have a conversation with the developer and say, what are your plans? This is what you gotta do if you're gonna put in a private disposal
Yeah,
system.
I'm planning with all
Okay.
that, but I just, I thought that the board should be advised of kind of where it stands as far as.
Oh, I think we're painfully aware of where it stands.
Okay.
Like I said, I think all the horses are gone out of the barn, maybe the goats too, hell, I don't know.
The only thing that's left is the manure.
I don't know if you can, well, that, yeah.
Oh, it's still there, trust me.
Yeah. Getting deep, is that what you're saying?
And again, I was
I
unaware
got my
that
hate dudes
there
also,
was
gotta
any
be careful.
discussion about the subdivision and all that until just last
There,
week after.
basically, there isn't one. And Dwayne, am I not wrong? If he doesn't divide, we don't have zoning, he
No, we
can
don't.
build whatever he wants to build on there. Yeah, he's got it.
Well, then you get in, at what point does that new state law about accessory development or accessory living units, what was the term that?
Well, we haven't adopted that yet, but.
Well, that's the state
Yeah,
code
It's a
though.
state law.
Right.
So you can only have
One.
one main and one, so I don't know how that
Thank you.
would handle on a rental community.
Yeah.
That would be an Elizabeth question.
Yeah, I believe when I briefly looked over that one of those units would have to be the primary owner's residence.
So I don't know how that works, cause you were, part of the discussion we had last week or week before was you asking about, apartment communities
Well,
out in the county, and this
the
is
other question-
effectively
the
what's
other
going
question-
on.
You're
So-
right, and the other question is, and I don't know how to determine this, maybe you can help us out later on, but CSR rating.
I think it's just CSR, but that's a pretty good piece of dirt, that's,
Upper eighties.
oh, absolutely. That's
So,
the old Batavia
the
Garden.
presumption
Used
is
to go
that
along
it's
with
better
it.
suited for agriculture than it is development. But I don't know whether you can, anyway, at this point, there is no subdivision.
No.
So,
Yeah, right.
not saying there won't be, but right at this particular moment, there isn't.
And again, I just wanted the board to aware of that again, as a public entity, as an environment.
We just
have
have
no
need to make
information
sure
about
that
it. So
he
it's-
completely understands that splitting it 4 times, anything beyond that, because my understanding is that there's been thought given to developing on the north side of that. And that makes it a major subdivision at that point, so,
On the north side of 34,
if it's all on the same parcel, on that same 42 acres, if you're gonna split it more than
Right,
4
yeah,
times, so.
totally, yeah. If it's
But
on a
at
different
this
parcel.
point, it hasn't been split, so. Hi,
Okay,
Great. Appreciate you taking.
yep, no,
Thanks,
not a
Jerry.
problem.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm having problems with my drainage ditch and by my toy barn down in Glasgow.
Okay.
You get the heavy rains, the ditch fills up, the pipe can't handle it, and the old culvert has raised its head again. We need to get it cut off or something. Something needs to be done with the old culvert, the one they couldn't find. I had water in the building,
Okay.
and that's totally unacceptable. When we originally wanted to put in that culvert, I met with Thomas, I thought we had a plan. He knew I wanted to put in a second drive, and he said, well, you have to have a minimum of a 14-inch culvert. So I bought it from the county, put it in with some help with some neighbors and friends. And I thought they were gonna do the same thing up there in the main big door entrances. That didn't happen. Took over a year to get what I got, which was an 8-inch. They didn't dig it out. Basically just laid it on over top and put some gravel on it. I did pay the difference of the footage. We tried it their way, it didn't work, I want it done right. Is basically my thing. I don't need water in my building. It's totally unacceptable.
Did you handle that, Dwayne? Check it out?
We have checked it out. That lot, as near as we can tell, there may have been a driveway. Obviously there was a driveway on the west side of the property because they have found a pipe finally. When they originally started construction, Thomas and he went back and forth on what to do. As a general rule, code allows for one driveway per residence or parcel. He wanted a drive off the west side, quite wide, so that he could get into his double doors, and we accommodated that, and with the idea that originally there should have been maybe a 30-foot pipe there, and I think he wanted 60 or 70 feet.
It's 50,
Yeah, so-
call it 60.
Yeah. We paid for a third of it, he paid for 2/3. But the ditches there are too shallow. I don't know if somebody's filled that lot in to fill the ditches in over there, but pretty much all of Glasgow, the ditches are very shallow because it's more of a residential cross-section than a true rural cross-section. But we put the pipe in the low spot on the ditch. We put the biggest pipe in there that would fit. But to try and get a 15-inch pipe in there, we'd have to ditch his lot and probably the next 500 feet down the way. And I think it probably could have been solved had he installed his building a little higher. Is right now the lot's been filled in. I can go back on Google Earth, and as far back as 1984, I don't see a driveway where he wanted that driveway. So we put it in the low spot in the ditch as it existed, which is what we normally do. So I don't know what the answer is for him.
Well, but I guess my question is, and I'm trying to envision this. So, is the building higher? Then how are we, I guess my question is, then how are we getting water in the building?
Well, the building isn't very high. It's just a hair above the original ground elevation. I don't know exactly where it is, but obviously it's too low because he's getting
levels of road.
he's getting water in there.
Say that again?
This is same plane as the road. But
So water's running out onto the road when it gets.
I'm sure it is. Yeah, it's coming across my drive, up by my building. There is a dip there. I've been filling it in for the last 3 years with gravel. And I was looking for some ideas and some help from you, and felt like I wasn't getting anything.
I was-
Joey going to go out.
I was out there.
He went out and we looked it over, and Joe's really not sure either.
I don't have the engineering degree either.
Now, my builder, he does have the engineering degree, and he thought it was more than adequate if we put in the proper drainage. That's what I originally wanted to do, but it took over a year to even get what I got, and it was a compromise, and that's not what I thought I was gonna get. I thought I was gonna get a 14-inch, along with the ditches opened up. On the Second Street side, we got a huge ditch, because there's a lot of water that goes down through there, as you know. And over time, we know that the roads move too, dirt roads move, and it's moved considerably to the west. I'd just like to have it opened up like it should have been in the beginning. We tried it your way, it didn't work.
I'm not sure. As a general rule, we do not install pipe for people. We did that as a favor to you to try and help you out. So I'm not enthusiastic about jumping back in to do another favor for you when you've treated Thomas the way you have been. You know, my father always told me you get a lot more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. And you've been a pretty good dose of vinegar lately, sir. Calling and demanding things.
So I guess,
We-
go ahead.
We can look at the ditch drainage, but I don't know if there's a quick solution for you. Because by rights, your contractor should have put that driveway in, not the county. Well, and we try to be accommodating, and sometimes I'm very disappointed, so I'll just shut up now.
My question is, since the ditch is in the county right away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so, for whatever reason, and like Joe, I'm not an engineer, I could look at it and it wouldn't mean anything to me as far as what I was looking at. But I guess my question is it advantageous to us, meaning the county, to make sure that we don't find ourselves in a situation where it could come back and bite us in the butt?
Well, that ditch is the same ditch was there when he started construction.
But there was no driveway there.
There was, but there was a ditch there.
Right.
And he chose the elevation for his building without, I'm guessing, without considering the drainage on his site.
Well, it's all flat out.
Yeah, it's,
It is.
that whole town's
And-
flat.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just, I don't know what to do with all that water coming
So where's it all come from? I mean.
out of the sky.
Yeah, this has
You've
been a
been
good
hanging
year
around you
to see
way
what
too
Mother
long.
Nature can do.
I ignore him.
But I mean, is it converging in that
It's
location?
coming down from the north, Lee. I think it's coming from the roads, wash from the roads, probably some from off my roof as well. But I don't know. I don't
So
have
is,
the answer.
8 inches isn't, I mean, if there's that much water coming there, is 8 inches even enough to handle it?
Well, 15 would be better, but a 15-inch pipe puts it higher than what the road was. So his drainage was problematic before he started construction. And he's got a nice shed, but you put that much impervious area over there, and it creates a lot of extra flow they can't soak in. And my guess is, after heavy rains, that lot was probably pretty spongy. Because the water still has to get under the pipe underneath Second Street that's south of his property.
That's Second Street across the south side of your property.
Second and Fourth.
It's Second Street is on the south side of my property, but actually the water is going down Second Street to, what is that, Unicorn?
Unicorn's on the west side of your property.
It goes, yeah, and it goes underneath the road at that point at that turn, and it goes down into the timber and that creek. That's how the water's coming off these two blocks anyway. Now, on the south side, on the Second Street side, that ditch is pretty deep, and it was handling the water. That's where we put in the second drive. It is deep. I can't mow it. It's too deep for me to even attempt to mow it.
I have no clue what the answer is.
Well, are other places along there flooding?
Not that I'm aware of.
You know, it's just a couple of running houses up, by Glasgow. An old house is about ready to fall in. Donnie Harbor across the road from me, he's got a bigger pipe going underneath his property, along his drive.
And it slopes off on.
And it's got straight on down, to the south, on his side of the street. Where my water gets dammed up because it can't get through the pipe. It interrupts out there the next day after a hard rain that we've had. And it's fairly dry. There might be a little bit of a pool, of water on the gravel. What would you say that was? Maybe 20 feet from the edge of the road and about 15 feet from the north side of my drive. That's a guesstimate. When we were down there, there was just a little bit of pool where you could see the water had been, right in there. As far as getting my motorhome and so forth through there, now I don't have a problem. But there was a time I did have a problem. In fact, with my car trailer stuck. That was in a February thaw, we had some heavy rains.
Well, Wayne said they see if there wasn't something else they could do, but I don't know what that would be. I will leave that up to you, but, cause my thought process of the way I'm thinking is logic says you dig the ditch out a little bit deeper. I mean, that's just what but I don't know the engineering requisites to make that happen. I don't know. No idea. But if it's, I just, and I guess the question I would ask is what would happen if you took a shovel and you dug some of that out? I don't know. I'm trying to envision whether or not.
You got a lot of digging with the shovel.
No, I'm just talking about around the tube to make sure that.
Oh, the tube's clear, it's just.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I obviously, it's, as far as that part of it goes, but.
If you would try to ditch, how far east do you think you would have to go?
Sure. That's the bad thing about when you're dealing with flat, if you stand at one end and look, oh yeah, that looks like it has good fall this way, and then you go to the other end and you look, oh, that looks like it has good fall this way. It's flat's just flat, and it's tough with your scope of reference, your frame of reference on how it works. So short of going out and shooting with the laser to see where we're at, and that's what we'll have to do. If that's what you guys want us to do, we will go do that, because I work for you.
Well, I guess from my perspective, if we can mitigate it, it may cost us less in the end. And if it
Well,
can't be,
shoot it, see what it looks
if
like.
it can't be mitigated, then it can't be mitigated, and I don't know what the answer is.
My father was in construction for 30 years when he built his shed for our old asphalt company. And to save $1,000 in fill, he built his shed about 1.5 feet too shallow. And he fought, and to this day, he still fights water. A little money spent on fill solves a lot of problems, but it's pretty tough to do that after the fact. So I'll see if we can't make water run uphill.
I appreciate the effort.
Get that quote down, Andy.
Who knows, it could be,
If you get it going fast enough, you can.
yeah. Always kind of figured south was downhill, but on my road, south is uphill. So, anyway, hi Mark,
Hi.
what's up?
That's in a nutshell. You guys are in the public comment section.
Yes, sir.
PCS was in my office. They were able to get everything back up and running. Maybe next budget cycle, Board of Supervisors may look into potentially buying some kind of a small generator. We lost an hour and a half this morning, and my office in particular was having to turn people away because I couldn't help them. So maybe something to look at. It doesn't have to run the AC by any means, or the heat in the winter, but that might be something that would be a justifiable purchase. moving forward.
So, I mean, I know we lost power, it evidently was off about an hour, near as I can tell by
Yep.
the clock when I came in on Saturday. But my question would be, how do I wanna say this? Would we, I'm trying to, would we somehow or another hook the server into it? That's my understanding, when we ever lose power, the server gets all balled up.
Yes. So the generator would basically be enough to make sure that the server continues to run. You know, as you know, PCS is located in a tumbleweed, so if
Right.
Shannon's unable to get things up and running, then she's calling PCS, and we're kind of at their mercy,
Right.
to when they can come over. And as I said, fortunately, we only lost an hour and a half today, but that's an hour and a half for the customers that I had to turn away.
So would we just, do you know, I guess,
I have no idea how much the cost would be. I don't know anything about it. I
was just wondering if you could just tie it into somehow or another, just the server.
I would think so, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
Mark, there's no UPC on that?
Yeah. Well, they used to be, but, depending on how long it was off, it might not have
Yeah,
held up for everything.
see, I got them in my office just for the computer.
Yeah. You know, I bought one for my office when I had a server upstairs that, you know, and it only lasted 15 minutes. So, you know, and it was $700.
Well, what we'll do, Abby, I'll reach out to Jerry if you want. I'll let you know whether or not he can make next week's meeting, and we'll just have a conversation and see what it looks like.
Just some food for thought. I know that you
Yeah.
guys already did the budget for this upcoming year, obviously, but
Well, we've got money in the buildings line items.
No.
We got money in the buildings line items, but I don't have a clue what it would look like or how it would work or.
yeah, forgive me, I'm not.
No, that's fine.
How much is it gonna cost PCS to be here to get you back online?
No, I get that, but I don't know whether Jerry can make it, so we can have a conversation how it would work with the server, is what I'm looking at.
He's still here too, so.
Oh, he is. But again, I mean, I can talk to him after the meeting if he's still here.
Okay.
He didn't see if he's available for next Monday, but, we can't really have a discussion with him on it
Sure.
today,
Yeah.
so. Right, Abby? Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Yes, sir.
This is the first time I've ever been to one of these meetings, so I'm not exactly sure what to do. My name's Travis Lee McGuire. We moved here from Las Vegas 3 years ago, my wife and I. I've been a 100% disabled American veteran since 2019. Last year I did a refinance on my house, and in the process of doing that refinance, I was made aware of a tax exemption on property tax for 100% disabled American veterans. So I downloaded a form and filled it out. Turns out it was the wrong form. And I turned it in to Steve, and I went up and talked to Steve, and I thought we had it figured out. And we didn't, because I had the wrong form. But how would I know? Because I don't know anything about tax forms. I'm not a tax guy. So when Steve and I talked about it last week, we kind of went back and forth and tried to figure out what exactly happened. But the only thing that I remember specifically is I asked them when I should stop taking, or call Quicken Loans and ask them to stop taking taxes out of my, for escrow, out of my payments. And he told me September. So I come up last week, which was last Monday, which would have been the 7th, and apparently the deadline is June 30th. Now I had turned in that form back in September, and that whole time I'm just waiting. Now keep in mind, throughout this process, I had made considerable improvements to my property. So there was a marked, through the appraisal, you know, my taxes are gonna increase through the process of the appraisal. And, in that all going down, I'm here today to make an appeal to the board to, please understand that it was my mistake. I mean, it's in my handwriting. Obviously, I looked at the form, Steve showed it to me. But I'm here to appeal to your sensibilities today to help me out. Because that was really kind of I went from paying, you know, $500 a month in property tax, which is enough, to $800 a month in property tax, which shot my whole budget. And this was all based, and I'm a disabled veteran, I'm on a fixed income. I'm not, this shoulder's been replaced and this shoulder's getting ready to be replaced and this hip is bad. So I don't know if I was exposed to radiation, nobody's talking, but the bottom line is I'm 100% disabled and I filled out the wrong form. I'm not blaming anybody else. I'm here today to appeal to your sensibilities to help a brother out.
Well, I hate to throw you under the bus here, but we can't do anything today because it's not on the agenda. The law won't allow us. We can put you on for next Monday.
That'd be great.
To discuss and consider.
That'd be great.
And then you can help enlighten us as far as that part of it goes too, and maybe provide us with we have some tools at our disposal, but I think what we'll need to hear is exactly what it is that you're asking for, and what we're talking about. So we just put it on next Monday's agenda to discuss and consider. If you would give Abby your name.
She has it.
You got it, okay. And we'll put it on next Monday's agenda, and then we can have a discussion and consider what our options are and make a decision.
Awesome, thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
perfect.
Are you talking about taxes that were previously due, or the ones that are coming up due in September?
Coming up due, because the house is in escrow, so I pay it partially. So while I'm paying through this process of this year, that's for next year's taxes. So, and they would be due in September next year. So I'm current on my taxes. I'm not behind, or, you know, there's no problem in that regard. It's just the fact that I go from, you know, it would have been $0 versus 800, and that's like 2 car payments. So it's a considerable difference.
So, for the record, sorry, Lee, for the record, then it would need to be, for clarification for them, that you're talking about upcoming taxes, but I will have no idea what a dollar amount will be on that.
Right.
For probably another month.
And that's okay,
Just so you guys are aware.
Right.
You won't be able to come up with any kind of dollar amount based on what you're telling me.
Thank you.
But at least, we're talking, so it'd be the 21st of July.
That works for me.
Okay.
Because I just wanted to get on the agenda.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
So we'll get that taken care of, and then we can have, it gives us more flexibility, because now it's in the public venue, and with that, we can make a decision. Right, in the public comment area, we can't.
I understand, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
Are you here for any particular reason?
What's that?
Are you here for any particular reason?
Oh, I was gonna ask about the service in Libertyville Road.
Oh, you mean the bridge closed?
No, the surfacing of it. I didn't want it, I drive a white truck and I didn't want it to be like Pleasant Plain Road.
Oh, well, we're not doing Libertyville Road. We're not seal coating that road, are we?
No, it's in design right now for rehabilitation for next year. That will be pretty much the same thing we did on 32nd Street, south towards town from Libertyville Road.
So it's a blacktop
It'll
overlay.
be an asphalt overlay with actual. Gonna pave the shoulders on it.
I've heard horror stories about
Sure.
Pleasant Plain Road and the hot seat taking the paint off of the cars and, you know.
It was Susie's fault.
Yeah, okay. That's all.
Because she lives in Glasgow, so I mean.
Yeah.
Hi.
We should have this commercial here.
I know. So, but it will be an overlay
Okay.
as opposed to a seal coat. Okay. Yes, sir.
I have a comment on the same thing, except Pleasant Plain Road. Are you still, taking some autos to, Max Auto and also Smithburg get cleaned up, or what's the process on this?
Right now, just call our office and Melissa will make an appointment for you. I think, Max pretty well backed up and Smith Merge had their belly full of washing cars.
You make your appointment for where?
We'll do it.
You get the undercarriage too?
Yeah, we have, some younger men who can get down under.
Also, we have a dump trailer. I kinda wonder what damage that did to the hydraulic hoist. 'Cause I know that the vehicle got splattered with, so I'm sure the undercarriage of the dump truck is worse than that yet.
Well, if you can get the box up and get under that pretty easy.
But is there any damage done to it so far, that's what I'm trying to?
Shouldn't be,
Okay,
as long as you got decent seals.
I don't know. Maybe we'll.
Or you didn't have the ram up when you went through
No.
it, so that it would've got covered, that should be all right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, call Melissa at the office and make an appointment. We'll get you taken care of.
Anybody else? Tom? If not, I would entertain a motion to allow claims and approved reports in the amount of $321,861.51. 51 cents was for Jack and Coke. Coca-Cola.
Happy to just keep track of your comments.
That's why I changed it to Coke. Anyway, I would entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We stay here longer, we're gonna just not have to come back. and
You
wait
can
until-
shut it off now, the meeting's over.
Right? I do think, I've had conversations with Abby, and we have to put it on the agenda, but she's covered with holes in her shirts.
Did you all say adjourn? I didn't hear the final ayes.
Yeah, we all said.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna shut it off right now, Susie. So much on the agenda today. If you miss one, you're like, what the heck? I missed out on a lot. And I think it was a routine week this week for the Board of Supervisors, but as always, there's a lot going on here, and make sure that you keep yourself informed. I do my best to share the information as much as possible, and this is brought to you basically unfiltered, unedited, except with maybe the date and the location, but you're getting it just as it happened. But I think that's my job sometimes, just be impartial and have no opinions on things. But, you know, in any situation, and I think that supervisors will agree, and most of you watching will agree, a lot of things can be fixed if people had and then used common sense. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my sponsors, Griner Auto Body Car Doctor, McDonald Boneyard, Your Choice Family Restaurant, Girling Repair, B&B Propane, and the family of Jet Tops, CW Tree Trimming, LLC, Dutch Market, and Coffee Talk. I'm your host, John Bain. Stay friendly, Southeast Iowa.